Magandang buhay! Hello Philippines and hello world! You're still tuning into Humanity's radio show. So for today's segment, we will be having facts and trivias about Philippine politics and governance. So when you hear the word Philippines, what comes to your mind? Hmm, the Philippines is known for having an abundance and beautiful beaches and delicious fruits. Well, did you know that Philippines is a collection of island or an archipelago located in the Southeast Asia and was named after the King Philip II of Spain? Another one is an iconic symbol of the country is the jeepney. It is the colorfully painted buses with roots dating to World War II and the US military jeeps. Another one is the three of the 10 largest shopping malls in the world are located in the Philippines. Due to the large volume of the text messages sent throughout the country, the Philippines has earned its nickname as the text capital of the world. And now, when you hear the word politics, what comes to your mind? Hmm, governance is the way rules, norms, and actions are structured, sustained, regulated, and held accountable. The degree of formality depends on the internal rules of a given organization and externally with its business partners. When it comes to the Philippine governance, what comes to your mind? Well, the Philippine government takes place in an organized framework of a presidential, representative, and democratic republic whereby the president is both the head of the state and the head of the government. This system revolves around three separate and sovereign yet interdependent branches, and those are: first, the legislative branch; second, the executive branch; and third, the judicial branch. Legislative power is vested in both the government and the two-chamber Congress, the Senate, which is considered as the upper chamber, and the House of the Representatives, which is considered as the lower chamber. While executive power is exercised by the government under the leadership of the president. On the other half, judicial power is vested in the courts of the Supreme Court of the Philippines as the highest judicial body. While there are also different types or several types of elections in the Philippines. The president, vice president, and the senator are elected for a 6-year term, while the members of the House of the Representatives such as governors, vice governors, and members of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan, including the mayors, vice mayors, members of the Sangguniang Panglungsod, members of the Sangguniang Bayan, barangay officials, and the members of the Sangguniang Kabataan are elected to serve for a 3-year terms. Now it's time for the facts and trivias of political leaders in the Philippines. Let's start with how many presidents? There are currently 16 presidents on the list and 5 living presidents since Rodrigo Roa Duterte was inaugurated as the 16th president of the Philippines on 30th day of June, year 2016. Now let's hear some facts about our President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, or popularly known as Digong. Digong is dubbed as the Punisher and the Dirty Harry of Davao. Rodrigo Duterte is said to be among the rare breed of politicians who walk the talk. Duterte embraces diversity. In fact, he was the only politician who allowed gay candidates, along with the Muslim and disabled, in his ticket. Now let me introduce you to the first president. General Emilio Aguinaldo became the first president of the independent Philippines in the year 1898. When the Philippines declared itself as an independent republic in 1898, Aguinaldo became its president. A significant milestone was reached in the struggle against colonial rule in Asia. Well, did you know that Emilio Aguinaldo fought first against Spain and later against the United States for the independence of the Philippines? Emilio Aguinaldo never waved the Philippine flag during the proclamation of independence. He was the president of the Philippine Revolutionary Government from the year 1897 to year 1901. Filipino revolutionary politician and military leader who is officially recognized as the first and the youngest president of the Philippines. Another trivia is the first female president. Maria Corazon Cuanco Aquino, born as Maria Corazon Sumulong Cuanco, popularly known as Cory Aquino, was a Filipino or Filipina politician who served as the 11th president of the Philippines, becoming the first woman to hold that office. So how does Corazon Aquino became famous? Corazon Aquino became the unified opposition's presidential candidate when Ferdinand Marcos unexpectedly called for presidential elections in February 1986. Aquino's husband, Benigno Simeon Aquino Jr., a prominent opposition politician, had been jailed by Marcos for 8 years and was assassinated in August 1983. This event galvanized opposition to the Marcos government. Now let me tell you who has or who served the longest term. Ferdinand Marcos is the longest serving president, having been in office for 20 years and 57 days. Well, did you know that Ferdinand Marcos changed religion in order to marry Imelda in a Catholic church? People worship Marcos like a god, unlike most Filipinos who vilify the late dictator. A group of peasants in Ilocos Norte and in the mountains of Abra provinces worship Ferdinand Marcos like a saint. In fact, they gather every month in their own chapel, dressed in white flowers or flowering robes, and worship the deceased president. Inside the chapel, they face an altar where the picture of the Sacred Heart of Jesus is displayed with Jesus Christ's face replaced by the face of Marcos. When we have the longest term, well, we also have the shortest term. Sergio Esmeña was the second president of the Philippine Commonwealth and a distinguished statesman. He led the country in its essential or initial stage of political maturation by his honest and selfless devotion to public service. Did you know that Sergio Osmeña was born in the island of Cebu on September 9, 1878? On March 5, 1906, Osmeña was elected provincial governor of Cebu at the age of 28. Well, I want to inform you a lot, or I want to share a lot of things to you guys, but this is the end of our segment and I hope you've learned a lot of things on me and I hope you've actually enjoyed it. So once again, magandang buhay everyone and God bless.